All right, let's jump right in. The world of auditing, it's changing, and it's changing fast. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve, that old traditional playbook, well, it's just not going to cut it anymore. Today, we're going to break down the 5 absolute must-have skills that every lead auditor needs, not just to get by, but to really, truly thrive.
Oh yeah, it really is. I mean, just think about it for a second. We've got AI that's totally changing how we look at data. We've got remote audits, which, let's be honest, has turned everything on its head. And then there's trying to navigate global compliance, which is more of a maze than ever. The thing is, this isn't some far-off future stuff. This is happening right here, right now.
And that brings us to the real question, the one we all have to face. Are your skills keeping up? Because it's so easy to get comfortable, right? To stick with what we know. But the ground is literally shifting under our feet. So I want you to just take a second, be honest with yourself. Is your skill set built for the challenges of yesterday, or is it ready for what's coming tomorrow?
Now, the good news here is you don't have to completely start from scratch. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The solution is all about strategic focus. It's about zeroing in on and really honing 5 specific, high-impact skills that are going to define your success in this whole new landscape.
Yep, that's the magic number. 5. Not 20, not 10, just 5. 5 core skills that, once you really master them, they come together to create this incredibly powerful toolkit for the modern auditor.
And here they are. We're going to walk through each of these. Data literacy, risk-based thinking, powerful communication, adaptability, and continuous learning. So let's start with that first one, shall we?
All right, skill number 1. In a world where the paper trail is pretty much gone, our first skill is all about becoming a kind of digital detective. It's about being able to follow the evidence, wherever it leads, even if it's just a trail of ones and zeros.
So what do we actually mean by data literacy? Well, look, this isn't about you needing to become some master coder or data scientist, okay? For an auditor, it's about having the confidence to look at digital info, to understand what it's telling you, and to be able to critically ask, is this legit? It's really about learning to speak the language of data.
And what's so wild is just how different this evidence looks today. I mean, check this out. We are not just talking about spreadsheets anymore, not by a long shot. We're talking about digging into cloud logs, making sense of these live performance dashboards, and tracing the invisible steps of automated trails. This right here, this is the new frontier of evidence. Okay, let's move on to skill number 2. And this one is probably one of the biggest mindset shifts in modern auditing. It's about moving away from that simple, yep, they did it, checklist mentality, and instead asking the much more important question, did they do what actually matters? And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. Look at the difference. The old way, that was checklist-based auditing. You were just following a script, ticking boxes. It was all about conforming compliance. But risk-based thinking, that's investigating with a real purpose. You're not just a box ticker anymore, you're a strategic investigator, focusing on the stuff that could truly put the organization at risk.
So what's the bottom line here? It's this. Your time, your expertise, that's your most valuable asset. Risk-based thinking just makes sure you're spending it where it counts the most. You're focused on what truly impacts performance and compliance instead of getting bogged down in the small stuff.
Okay, so you can read the data. Awesome. And you can spot the real risks. Fantastic. But what good is any of that if you can't get anyone to actually do anything about it? And that brings us right to our third skill, communication. That doesn't just inform people, it drives them to take action.
Just let that sink in for a minute. Your biggest strength is influence. Look, your technical skills, they get you in the room. They get you a seat at the table. But it's your ability to influence that lets you lead from that seat. Because the real goal of an audit isn't just to write a report, right? It's to create positive change. And that change, it's driven by influence.
So, how do you actually build that influence? Well, it really boils down to 3 key things. First, asking sharper questions that cut right to the heart of an issue. Second, building real trust with stakeholders so they see you as a partner, not some adversary. And finally, presenting your findings in a way that's so clear, so compelling, that it practically demands a response.
All right, our last 2 skills are a little different from the others. They aren't just about what you do, they're more about who you are. They're the foundation, the mindset that makes everything else we've talked about possible, especially in a world that is just constantly changing. Let's break them down. First up, adaptability.
Now, this is way more than just being okay with change. It's about staying effective while things are changing all around you. So when a new piece of tech gets rolled out, or you suddenly have to do an entire audit remotely, the adaptable auditor doesn't just cope. They figure it out, they respond with clarity, and they still deliver the goods.
And going hand in hand with adaptability is continuous learning. Think of this as the engine that keeps you relevant. It's a real commitment to staying curious, to always be asking, what are the new standards? What's this new tech everyone's buzzing about? A continuous learner is always asking, what's next?
And that's the real payoff, you see. When you put adaptability and continuous learning together, you stop just reacting to how your job is changing. You become someone who sees it coming, who embraces it, and who ultimately can lead other people through it.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. We've gone through 5 pretty distinct skills, right? But when you put them all together, they form this one powerful integrated toolkit for building your future in the world of auditing.
And here it is, one more time, your modern auditing toolkit. You've got data literacy, risk-based thinking, powerful communication, adaptability, and continuous learning. You need the skills to read the data, the wisdom to focus on the risk, the influence to make things happen, and the mindset to constantly evolve. This is the blueprint for the modern lead auditor.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important question of all. Look at this list. Which one of these skills really jumps out at you right now? Which is the one that if you started working on it tomorrow would make the biggest difference in your career? The future of auditing is already here. The only real question left is, what are you going to do to get ready for it?